All right, so we are already live on Facebook. In 1 minute, we'll be live on the El Radio.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Ok. 10 segundos.
Yes.
Tres, dos, uno.
Muy buenos días, mi gente. Estamos una vez más aquí en su programa Enfoque Houston en ESPN Deportes 1230 AM. Estamos aquí en el primer segmento de su vida, su negocio. También vamos a estar aquí hablando de todos bienes raíces, pero este es un programa especial porque tenemos a Corey Kamendiner. Millie desafortunadamente todavía sigue un poquito enferma, pero la próxima semana estará aquí con nosotros. So I want to welcome each and every one of you to our show Enfoque Houston through ESPN Deportes 12:30 a.m. This is going to be a special show. It's going to be an entire hour talking with our special guest, Corey's CPA. So Corey, welcome to the show, and please welcome your guests.
Well, it's good to be here, and even though it's cold outside today,
Yes.
right? You're going to have to repeat en español.
En español. So Corey's saying it's good to be here, even though it's
Muy frío.
Dice que hace mucho frío. Dice es bueno estar aquí, pero hace mucho frío.
Mucho. So today I brought my friend. He's also my CPA, which is a certified public accountant, right?
Hoy trajo su amigo, su contador, que también es certificado por el estado como CPA.
So if you don't understand how the tax laws work in this country, then you need to go find yourself a guy like Nick Shaw.
Dice, si no entienden ustedes cómo trabajan las leyes de los impuestos, tienen que ir a conseguirse a una persona como Nick Shaw, un contador profesional.
So Nick, say hello to the people and tell them a little bit about yourself.
All right. Hello, guys. So my name's Nick Shaw. I am a CPA, certified to do taxes, accounting, bookkeeping, everything for individuals, corporations. I've been practicing for about 10 years now.
Está saludando Nick a todos ustedes. Es un contador certificado por el estado de Texas para hacer impuestos, contabilidad de negocios personales, y ha estado en práctica por más de 10 años.
We have about 2 offices here. One is in Waller and one is in Spring.
Tienen 2 oficinas, uno en Waller, Texas, y otro en Spring.
At the Spring office, we have several clients who are in the same boat that our listeners are in. Individuals, with a job, wife, house, and a couple kids, and W-2s.
Dice que en la oficina de Spring tiene bastante de sus clientes, que son los clientes típicos como los que nos escuchan en la radio, que son casados, tienen sus trabajos, que ganan por sus W-2 forms, son empleados, tienen sus hijos, and what else?
And so with the new tax law change, obviously, our phones are going off the hook, and people are trying to understand whether, it's a benefit or a loss to them. And, with about 3,000 clients that we have now, I mean, I have yet to find a client who is not going to be benefited out of this tax law.
Una de las cosas que menciona Nick, dice que él tiene más de 3,000 clientes, como ustedes que nos escuchan, con trabajos, con hijos, y están llamándoles los teléfonos de Nick y de sus oficinas, están sonando constantemente porque gente quiere saber cuál es el efecto, si hay un beneficio, hay una pérdida con esta nueva ley, de esta nueva reforma de impuestos. Y lo que dice Nick es que hasta ahora, de sus 3,000 clientes que tiene, hasta ahora ninguno ha tenido una pérdida en términos de impuestos o dinero dado a esta nueva reforma.
Yeah, so Nick, this is why I wanted to have you on the show today, because I'm seeing on Facebook and on the news that based on certain people's political belief, they're either going to say that this is an awesome tax reform bill or it's not so awesome. So have you been seeing that too?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, it's...
Let me translate. So, una de las cosas que dice Corey, y una de las razones que quería tener aquí a Nick, es porque él ha estado viendo en Facebook, o quizás por los, diferentes puntos de vista político, que la gente está confundiendo esta reforma. Entonces, quería aclarar o traer unos puntos para que la gente entienda más, y le estaba preguntando a Nick si él también ha estado viendo esas situaciones.
So have you been also witnessing that?
Yes, yes, definitely. So because people are focusing on people that like the political party, Republicans that obviously have passed this law. People that are Republicans, see it that way, and people that obviously don't believe in Republicans, so it's the media that's sort of trying to play with everybody's minds. But me as a CPA, I've got 3,000 clients, we've got all kinds of clients, whether, they're Republicans, Democrats, independents, people that have, no belief. So me as a professional, I'm looking at this as just a tax law that's going to affect every single one of my clients. At the end of the day, it's going to benefit pretty much everybody.
Lo que dice Nick es que, por ejemplo, esta reforma se está viendo de diferente punto de vista, ya sea del lado republicano o demócrata, y como los republicanos han pasado esta reforma, pues los demócratas lo están viendo de un punto de vista diferente. Lo que dice Nick es que él está viendo esta reforma de un aspecto profesional, y pues dado a su clientela, que su clientela son de todas clases, son trabajadores, gente con negocios, entonces él lo está viendo de ese aspecto, un aspecto profesional, no un aspecto político, republicano o demócrata.
Okay. So one of the things that I've been seeing thrown around out there is that this bill only, and that's a strong word, okay, that's a definitive, only helps the top 1%ers in the United States of America. Have you been hearing that?
Yes, which...
Yes, una de las cosas que está mencionando Corey, dice que él ha estado viendo en las noticias y viendo en Facebook que esta reforma de impuestos solo beneficia al 1% solamente. Y él dice, esta palabra solamente es una palabra muy fuerte, que es al 1% de la gente que gana aquí. Entonces le está preguntando a Nick que si él también ha visto eso.
Yes, definitely. So we hear that all the time, that it's in favor of one party or the other. It's not in a favor of party. It's just in favor of pretty much everybody. In general, this bill is in favor of people that work, make money, pay tax. Pretty much everybody. So all the way from, if your household income is like $50,000 to $500,000, every single person is going to benefit out of this. So it's not in favor of one or the other. It's just in favor of people that are willing to work and make money and pay tax and, live the American dream.
Okay. Nick dice que esta reforma no está en favor de un partido ni de otro, simplemente es una reforma que está a favor de todas las personas que ganen dinero y paguen sus impuestos, ya sea si usted gane $55,000 al año a que usted gane $500,000 al año. No se trata de un partido u otro partido, prácticamente se trata de todos los que ganan dinero, pagan impuestos. Ese sería el beneficio para todos ustedes.
Okay. So my question is, because I believe there's a lot of confusion with who are the 1%ers. Like how do you justify who's a 1%er?
Una de las cosas que está preguntando Corey es cómo uno define el 1%, o sea, de la gente que gana, que de los ingresos, ¿no? El 1% de esa clase, y cómo se define eso.
Right. So that's it's a question that is unclear because of the fact that it's used by the IRS differently, and then the states that represent clients that represent their states, it affects them differently as well. The 1%ers with respect to the IRS is all the individuals that are making $460,000 or more. This was obviously back in 2014.
Dice, dependiendo en la IRS, ¿no? En la casilla de impuestos, el 1% es definido a las personas que tienen un ingreso de $400,000 o más. O sea, esto no es, dice, hay una confusión, esto no necesariamente es como está clasificado a un nivel político, dice, simplemente del IRS, el 1% es las personas que ganan $400,000 o más.
So, if it's 400,000 income, is that income before Uncle Sam takes taxes from them?
That is correct. Yes, it's AGI,
Okay.
which is adjusted gross income.
Entonces, Corey le está preguntando si estos $400,000 es después o antes que le saquen todos los impuestos. Y entonces Nick menciona que esto es $400,000 antes de los impuestos, before taxes.
Before taxes.
Okay, antes de los impuestos.
Okay. So based on the old corporate tax law, someone who made $400,000 adjusted gross income, right? Taxable
Yes.
income. What was their percentage? Like, what would they get taxed at?
So adjusted gross income for 400,000. Someone that was making 400,000. They would be in the 33% tax
33?
bracket under the old law.
Okay.
Under
Okay.
the new law,
Let's just go
Okay,
with the old law first.
entonces está preguntando una persona que esté en el 1% que prácticamente gana $400,000 al año, ¿en qué, en qué nivel de impuestos que le cobran estaría esta persona? Son 33%, ¿correcto?
33%.
Bajo la reforma antigua o las reglas antiguas antes de esta reforma.
Okay.
yes.
So since you do a lot of corporate tax returns, right? Would you agree that a lot of small businesses that were in that range of taxable income, 250,000, 600,000, that if the government was taking 1/3 of their profits, which at the end of the day they won't have $400,000 to enjoy with their family, my thinking is why do people hate them so much? You know, if I made 400,000 and then the government took 1/3 of my income after I employed a lot of people, paid benefits, helped the local economy, and then the government took 1/3 of what was supposed to come to me, why would so many people hate me?
Bueno, una de las cosas que Corey le está preguntando a Nick es, dice, ¿por qué sería que tantas personas odiarían, por ejemplo, a él o a las personas que ganan el 1% si las personas están pagando el 33%, que es casi equivalente a un tercio de sus ganancias? Es decir, 400,000, tienen que pagar un tercio de $400,000, que en realidad no se quedan con todos esos 400,000. Más, aparte de eso, tienen gastos de, si tienen empresas o cualquier otros gastos. Dice, ¿por qué sería que una persona está enojada si uno está pagando más?
Yes. So I think at that point, the majority of what we've heard and seen is that it's not, at that point, people are not looking at the tax rate that this individual's, paying 1/3 of their tax.
Third, okay.
In what they're seeing it as this person's making 400,000, but obviously they're not seeing that, hey, you know what, almost 1/3, which means $130,000 of that's already been, is paid as tax, which obviously, is benefiting them in some way or form, by way of all the benefits that we're enjoying throughout the nation.
Una de las cosas que Nick está mencionando, dice que la gente más se enfoca en la cantidad de dinero que la persona está ganando, no necesariamente en la cantidad de impuestos que está pagando. Es decir, si la persona gana $400,000, paga una tercera parte, que es approximately $130,000 that they're paying, right?
Okay.
Son aproximadamente $130,000 que están pagando en impuestos. Entonces dice, la gente no se está enfocando tanto en lo que están pagando, sino en lo que están ganando.
So in that profit range, that could be literally all the little businesses that we see in all the strip centers in Houston, right? Like the gyms, maybe the subways and
Salons,
the
restaurants.
salons. So I don't believe people understand that when they go against the 1%er, they're probably going against their own employers, right?
Yes,
And they don't
yes.
even know it.
Una de las cosas que está mencionando Corey, dice que la gente no se dan cuenta que cuando están atacando al 1%, quizás pueda ser los dueños de un pequeño gimnasio o un pequeño negocio, un negocio local, y lo que no se están dando cuenta es que pueda ser que sean sus propios empleadores. Entonces vamos a hablar más. We're going to be talking more después de esta pausa comercial. So we're going to go to a commercial break and we'll continue with the tax reform después de estos mensajes. So we're still live on Facebook.
Yes. Let's see if I can adjust this camera.
Millie's saying, love the banner by Pablo F. Thank you, Millie. That's Corey's creation. Nick has a wonderful bilingual staff. Se habla español en las dos oficinas de Nick. Oh, wow. Yes. Okay. Good.
Yes, that's
Good.
right.
Yeah, so that's the first
Yeah, we're
thing. Is
missing Millie.
yeah, she's at home sick today. So yeah, we want to address the one percenter because there's a lot of negativity around the bill, and it seems like the only real negative deal, it's not people saying, "Hey, it's going to hurt me." No, it's going to help the other
Yes,
person.
exactly.
And I
Yes,
think
yes.
that perspective is bad because you should
We
never
need to.
really worry about what other people are doing in their life or their blessing and their benefit, because at the end of the day, you need to take care of yourself and your own family.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, we definitely have to focus a lot on people's benefits rather than or their own benefit, my own benefit than your benefit. Well,
Okay, so-
I shouldn't look at your benefit. I should look at what
Exactly.
I'm benefiting.
Millie is mentioning 460,000. We said 460,000 or 400,000.
460,000.
Okay, that's a correction, and I have to make that. Yeah, because I was mentioning 400,000, so it's 460,000 annual ingreso anual, ingreso ajustado antes de pagar los impuestos, 1% de la población. 1% de la población. Okay, good. Thank you, Millie, helping us translate this.
Veronica Gills,
Hi, Nick.
watching.
I'm watching. Veronica Gill.
Veronica.
Veronica.
Veronica, make sure you post your phone number for people that are looking to get ready to do their taxes.
Yes.
And let them know that you guys are bilingual.
And work on my Spanish also, please.
We're waiting for the commercial break. Veronica, make sure you share this broadcast on your Facebook page.
And how is it that she could share it?
Click on the little share button at the bottom of the live feed.
There you go.
So we're going to be going over a list of a lot of the changes,
Yes.
the old and the new, and we're going to come to a decision or conclusion on, is this good changes or bad changes?
Robin Gray. Good morning, Enfoque.
Good morning, Robin.
Robin Gray.
Heard you got a closing this week. Go get 'em, girl.
She's one of your agents?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Jessica Brown.
Ooh,
I have
Jessica.
shared.
Jessica has a very important position because she controls your paycheck.
That's
There
right.
you go.
Jessica is our payroll specialist
Oh,
at the office.
okay. C. Veronica Gill says C.
And remember, you guys can also listen in on 12:30 a.m. ESPN Deportes.
12:30 AM. Okay, so we have 16 seconds.
Muy buen show, muchachos. Está muy interesante.
Interesante, ¿no?
Bien. ¿Listo?
Listo.
Escuche, right?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Muy buenos días, mi gente. Estamos una vez más de regreso aquí en Enfoque Houston en ESPN Deportes Radio 1230 AM, un programa auspiciado por Small Business Connection and newhomeprograms.com. Welcome back again. We're live with ESPN Deportes with our show Enfoque Houston and with our special guest, Nick Shaw, and of course, our partner, Corey Kamadiner. So, Corey, before you begin, I just want to clarify one thing in Spanish, okay? Una cosa que estábamos hablando, y Mili, muchísimas gracias por ese apoyo. Estábamos hablando de la población, el 1% de la población gana $460,000 de ingreso anual, o sea, es decir, 460 ingreso anual, y aquí también estábamos hablando ajustado antes de pagar los impuestos. Así que muchísimas gracias, Millie, por esa aclaración. And I was just thanking Millie for that clarification because I had mentioned 400,000 and it was actually 460,000 And of course, we said 1% of the population that earns that income. So
Yep.
back to you, Corey.
And a question on that, Mr. Nick. If someone's making $460,000 gross income after all expenses, typically the owner of a company, their profit that they're making, what would be that percentage on average? Because I believe that most owners of companies, if you're making 20% return, then that's a good business, right?
Yes, definitely. So, a lot of, obviously the profit percentages are different industry-wise, but anywhere between 15 to 20% is a good business.
Okay.
It's looked at a good business.
Okay, so we're talking about the profit that an individual would make.
So if someone made 460,000, what would their gross have been, and what their expenses? So 460,000 is their net,
Right.
which is about 15 to 20% of the gross.
So in other words, una persona que gane $400,000 al año tendría una ganancia, o sea, dinero actual que se le queda en el bolsillo, como podemos decir, in their pockets, de aproximadamente 15 al 20%, approximately a net revenue or profit of 15 to 20%.
Yeah. So
Una ganancia de 15 al 20% más o menos.
So in this situation, this person who makes $460,000 before they're taxed probably would have to have gross revenues of at least $2 million, right?
At least $2 million.
So, and $2 million is not a lot of money for a corporation to be making.
That's right.
Entonces lo que estamos hablando es si una persona, o sea, tendría una ganancia actual de $460,000 en su bolsillo, es decir, que esta persona en realidad estaría ganando antes de impuesto aproximadamente $2 millones, right? $2 million prior to taxes, and then after taxes would be left with
and business expenses and office rent.
después de gastos de oficina, gastos de pagar a sus empleados, todo eso, después si gana $2 millones, después de todos esos gastos y más los impuestos que tiene que pagar, pues ahí se quedaría con casi $460,000 al año.
So just to put things into perspective, that would roughly be about an average of 3 subways. So, for you to make 460,000, you have to operate 3 subways and all the headaches that obviously come with it.
Una de las cosas que está haciendo, en una comparación que está haciendo Nick, dice, es decir, o sea, para hacer esa cantidad de dinero, $400,000, o sea, de ganancia, sería, para ponerle todo en perspectiva, es como tener 3 franquicias de Subways. Imagínense, tener 3 franquicias de Subways para poder tener esa ganancia. Y dice Nick, imagínense el dolor de cabeza que es ser dueños de esas franquicias.
Yeah. So my petition is don't be so hard on the 1%ers, because the majority of the 1%ers, these aren't the billionaires that we think are the 1%ers.
That's right.
Dice la perspectiva de Corey, dice no hablen, o sea, no hablen mucho no comenten mucho contra la población del 1%, porque en realidad el 1% de la población que gana los $460,000 al año no son sus millonarios, no son la gente que gana millones al año.
In addition to that, what I would also like to add is that if the government gives the corporations a little bit of benefits, only then will they be able to pass out to the employees, to the people that obviously, help operate the business.
Una de las cosas que dice Nick dice, si el gobierno les daría a estas corporaciones o a estas personas que ganan esa cantidad de dinero un beneficio, entonces solo de esa manera el propietario del negocio podría pasar esos beneficios a sus empleados.
So great, we talked about the 1%ers, now let's talk about all the average people like us.
Yes.
Dice, ya hablamos de todo, de la población del 1% que gana los $460,000 al año. Dice, y ahora hablemos de todas las otras personas en común y corriente como nosotros.
So we actually have a little handout, and there's probably, about 30 different changes to the tax law,
that's
right?
right. About 10 pages worth of changes, yeah.
Dice que tenemos una página, un documento de 10 páginas, que es un sumario de todos los cambios de la reforma, lo que fue en el 2017 y lo que es nuevo en esta reforma del 2018.
And I really want to know, does this tax bill, does it benefit me or does it not benefit me?
Una de las cosas que quiere saber Corey, dice a la persona común y corriente como nosotros, trabajadores, si le beneficia la nueva reforma.
Nick, I'm sure that's what a lot of people want to know, right?
Yes, everybody. That's what we've been hearing, from every single person. I had Teresa actually called me yesterday,
Okay.
and she's like, "Nick, just tell me, is this good for me or not?" And I'm like, "Don't worry, it's good for you. It's
Okay.
good for everybody."
You know what? You're gonna have to repeat that because I was reading. I was reading
You're
Millie's
reading a comment,
Millie's
yeah.
comment.
Okay, no. So one of his agents calls me yesterday, and she's like, her name's Teresa. She's like, just tell me whether this is going to benefit me or not. That's all I need to know. So,
Están hablando de una de las agentes de bienes raíces que trabaja con Corey, y claro que es cliente de Nick. Y lo único que Teresa quería saber es, yo quiero saber si esta reforma me va a perjudicar o va a ser un beneficio.
I told her it's going to benefit everybody. Every single filer will see some sort of benefit.
Okay.
Dice que, bueno, esta reforma va a beneficiar de una u otra manera a todos, no solamente a una persona. De una u otra manera va a haber un beneficio para todos.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and even though you're my friend and my CPA, I don't ever want to believe what you say. I need to see the hard facts.
Definitely.
Una de las cosas que dice Corey, dice, yo sé que eres mi contador y un amigo mío, pero tampoco, no, solo porque eres amigo mío y mi contador te voy a creer todo. Dice, Corey, dice, yo tengo mis ¿cómo se puede decir? Todo en documentos actuales que él ha buscado y ha encontrado.
All right. So one of the first things we're going to talk about is the exemption. There's a $4,050 exemption that is going away based on the new tax.
Lo que quieren hablar es de una excepción que se va a eliminar de 4,060, 4,060, right?
4,050.
4,050, de 4,050. O sea, esa excepción se va a eliminar y quieren hablar acerca de eso.
Now explain what is that exemption and what is the definition of an exemption?
So,
¿Cuál es la definición de una excepción que uno puede tomar en sus impuestos?
yes. So it's called personal exemption. Personal exemption means you get to deduct a certain amount, in this case 4,050, for one individual in your household. So if you have 4, you get to deduct 4,050 times 4.
Dice que es una excepción personal que se puede deducir, o sea, aquí está lo que usted gana, se puede deducir lo que usted gana en lo que le van a cobrar los impuestos por $4,050 por cada persona. Si usted tiene 4 personas que viven en su casa, entonces esta deducción personal sería multiplicado por 4. O sea, ese es el significado de esta deducción personal de $4,050.
Okay, so 4,000 in my mind, it sounds like a lot of money.
Dice 4,000 o 4,050 en la mente de Corey, dice en mi mente, suena como una cantidad bastante alta.
But this is an exemption, not a credit.
It is an exemption, yes.
Dice que no es un crédito, es una excepción, una deducción, o sea, no es un crédito actual. And I believe you guys are going to explain a little bit
so
de,
exemption.
y luego van a explicar un poquito acerca del crédito y un ejemplo.
So let's just say my tax rate is 10%, which would be awesome, by the way. If it's 10% and I have one dependent, then instead of getting, I would only get taxed, or I would get exempted from what, $400 on the 4,000, which means I wouldn't have to pay the 4,000 or 400 in taxes.
400,
right?
yes.
So I would say 400.
Okay,
you
so
said
let's repeat that again, and very easy. So if you said if your taxes were
At 10%.
at
tax
10%,
rate.
okay, si los impuestos, o sea, si la tarifa que le cobran a él los impuestos serían solo del 10%, que es un ejemplo, no es lo actual, entonces sería 10% of the tax credit is what we're talking of the exemption.
So
de
if
la
I had
excepción,
one dependent,
si tiene un depende,
which is
sería
4,050.
sería 450.
Then really I would save about $400 in taxes.
Yes.
Dice, en realidad estaría ahorrándose aproximadamente unos $400. Ahora, we have to go to another commercial break.
Okay.
So, right after this commercial break, we'll continue. Nos vamos a una pausa comercial y regresamos hablando de las excepciones de las deducciones personales.
Is there a way for me to this in?
Like power?
Yes.
How long is your cord?
No, it's right here. We have power here. If you have your cord here, we'll have power here.
Yes.
This may require a whole 2 shows.
I'm thinking so.
So
One
it's-
for individuals
and one for,
corporations.
let's put it right here.
You guys send us your email address, you'll get the same handout that we have here.
Yes, yes, mira.
Ok, Mili, gracias. Gracias por la traducción y continúa viéndome con información porque aquí sí que se me pone difícil con todos estos números. So I'm just telling Millie, thank you for helping me out with the translation with all these numbers. And you sometimes it's what they say. Sometimes it gets lost in translation. So we don't want that to get lost in translation. Alejandra.
It's the suegra.
Oh, Alejandra.
She has different names.
No critiquen, esto es lo que dice Millie, no critiquen al 1% del trabajo, 1% trabajan duro por ese dinero, jajaja, y no llegan a medio millón. O sea, no llegan ni a, a medio millón. Better you than me, Pablo. This is a tough one, Millie, this is a tough one. Me dice, ok, la propaganda de los medios de comunicación les dan mucha fama negativa al 1%. Millie's just saying that, the social media or media in general gives the medio de comunicación dan fama, they give a negative vibe about the 1%.
Yes. And you know what the problem that I see is that people are not focusing on their own individual benefits. They're seeing, hey, this guy, he's getting benefited more than I am, but that sort of overshadows the fact that I'm also getting benefited.
And they don't understand, it's not about, I get this and they get that. They should be asking the question, how did that person get that? And if you look at it from a logical standpoint, it all comes back to decisions. People have certain things based on the decisions that they made.
Definitely. Yeah.
So we're
So
talking
it's not
about
always about hard work and labor.
Exemption.
exceptions.
Exemption. Yeah.
Exemptions.
E-X-E-M-P.
Exemptions.
Exemption. Yeah.
Robbie's on the show. Robbie Aligambar, Teresa's husband.
Robbie, yeah. Welcome, Robbie. About time.
Cada año es impresionante lo que Dios hace. Le damos nombre a la
Exactly, Nick. Whatever you said, Melly said exactly. Exactamente. Time really flies,
It is flying when we're talking, yeah.
I think a lot of times people forget that in the Bible, there
La
is,
Biblia dice,
Jesus dice, that, when the vineyard owner needed employees, and some came early in the morning, some came late in the day, he paid them the same wage, and there's always someone that says, why is he getting the same thing as me? I worked harder. Being an employee, we don't have that ability to go to the master or the employer and complain because he's the one who's, providing for us. And I believe even a lot of believers, they don't even take that in consideration.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Muy buenos días, mi gente. Estamos una vez más de regreso aquí en su programa Enfoque Houston, un programa directamente transmitido por ESPN Deportes 1230 AM. So we're back with our program Enfoque Houston through ESPN Deportes Radio 1230 AM. This program is sponsored by Small Business Connection and NewHomePrograms.com.
All right, so we were talking about the $4,050 exemption. That's no longer in play, but it has been replaced with a standard deduction. So tell us what the standard deduction is about.
Bueno, dice Corey que estábamos hablando de la exención de los $4,050 que está eliminado, pero ahora tenemos una deducción estándar y le pregunta a Nick, conversanos un poquito acerca de esa deducción estándar.
Yes. So personal exemption was $4,050 per individual. So if just a married couple, and with their kids that are not their dependents anymore, they used to have $12,600 worth of standard deduction before, and $4,050 times 2 of personal exemption. So under the old law, a married couple would have 20,000. So 4,050, that's 8,100 plus 12,600, that's 20,900 of income taken out, and then they pay taxes on
Okay.
under the old law.
Right. Entonces, let me just understand this so I could translate it
Sure.
correctly. So we're talking about a married couple of two.
Yes.
And how many kids?
No kids for
Okay,
now.
no
just
kids
in
for
this
now.
example.
Entonces, en este ejemplo que está hablando Nick es de una pareja de dos que casadas, en este caso, bajo, through the old law we're talking.
Under the old law,
Under the old law, they would have an exception. Van a tener una excepción de ¿cuánto? How much?
8,100 of exemption
Okay.
of 2.
Tendrían una excepción de 8,100 por las dos personas, o sea, es decir, 4,050 por cada uno, son $8,100 bajo lo antiguo, más
Standard deduction of 12,600.
más la deducción estándar de 12,600. 12,600 plus the 8,100 is about
20,700.
Entonces, bajo la vieja reforma o antigua reforma tenía una deducción total para una pareja casada de 21,000,
20,700.
de 20,700. O sea, estamos hablando de la deducción estándar, digamos de excepción, y la deducción estándar serían 20,700.
Yes.
Okay, that's 20,700. Okay.
Yes. And under the new law now,
Okay.
personal exemption, although it went away, the standard deduction is almost doubled. So now the standard deduction is 24,000.
Ah, ok. Entonces dice, aunque se haya eliminado la excepción de los 4,050, la deducción estándar creo fue casi duplicada, porque es ahora de 24,000, $24,000. Entonces es duplicada, que casi no hay mucha diferencia. There's
Yeah.
not much of a difference, but there is a gain.
There's a gain of 3,300 for a married couple under the new law than the old law.
Dice que ahora hay un beneficio de aproximadamente 3,300 bajo la nueva ley. Acuérdense que estamos hablando de una pareja de casados, o sea, este es el ejemplo, sin hijos, sin créditos de hijos o nada.
And someone in the 15% tax bracket would mean additional $500 in their pocket.
Y alguien, una persona que está en el digamos, en el impuesto de 15%, sería aproximadamente unos $500 más de ganancia en su bolsillo.
Okay. So I also see on here there's an additional elderly and blind. So what is that, and what was the changes with that?
So there's no change with that. Elderly and blind used to get an additional $1,300 worth of standard deduction.
Okay.
They'll continue to get that, so there's
Okay.
no change
So
there.
that would be an example of, let's say that my parent-in-laws lived in my house and I took care of them,
Yes.
and that would add to the 24,000.
No, it's the filer.
Okay.
It's the filer. If the filer was elderly, if
Okay.
the taxpayer or the spouse was elderly,
okay.
not for an elderly dependent.
Okay. So
Wait.
what's the definition of elderly?
Someone that is over 68,
Okay.
that is filing their own tax return, that are independent, their standard deduction under the older law was $1,300 more. Under the new law, it's also same, $1,300.
Estamos hablando de las personas ancianas o de la tercera edad, como se dice, y Corey menciona cuál es la definición de una persona que sea de la tercera edad o anciana. Dice una persona que tiene de 68 años o más, que está haciendo sus impuestos, o sea, está reportando sus impuestos, y estaban hablando del crédito, o sea, dicen que el crédito, la deducción es igual, no cambia en este caso, si la persona está haciendo sus impuestos.
Okay. So real quickly, because you got your little computer and your calculator here, we want to find out how much more money would a person make based on the new system. And what we're doing is we're going to use actual numbers for Houston, Texas, which the average household income is $61,000. Whether they're single or married, it doesn't make a difference. We'll go with 61,000.
Ok,
Yes.
vamos a hacer un ejemplo actual de una persona aquí en Houston, Texas, que gane aproximadamente $61,000 al año para que ustedes puedan ver cómo es lo que funciona o sea, bajo la ley antigua y la nueva ley, ¿ok? Entonces, una persona, o sea, una casa en donde se gane $61,000 al año. So, 61,000 a year for here, let's say Texas, Houston, Texas, ¿ok?
Texas
Or
is
that's
actually
Houston.
lower.
Yes.
Texas
so
is 55,000.
61,465 is the average income household of Houston.
So,
61,465.
Where is it?
61,465 right here.
Oh, okay. So 61,465 is the average. Lo que estamos hablando es de una persona aquí, el promedio de una persona aquí en Houston es aproximadamente 61,465 $. O sea, ese es el promedio del ingreso de aquí de una persona aquí en Houston, Texas. ¿Ok? Entonces vamos a usar ese ejemplo. So we're going to use that example, 61,465.
Right. So before we actually do that, we need to also talk about the tax rates that have lowered,
Okay.
because that is what will help us understand how we are saving, more money in taxes.
Dice Nick, antes de hacer todo este ejemplo y ver todos los ahorros, quiere hablar de la tarifa, o sea, de la tarifa del impuesto, digamos, el porcentaje del impuesto que la persona paga, porque ahora, bajo la nueva reforma, esa tarifa ha sido deducida, o sea, el porcentaje.
Yes. So there were 7 tax rates before, and there are still 7 tax rates now.
Okay.
The slabs.
Ok, dice que tenemos 7 categorías de impuestos, o sea, en términos de porcentajes, antes y ahora todavía tenemos esas 7 categorías que van basados en un porcentaje.
However, the tax rates before were 10, 15, 25, which have now become 10, 12, 24.
Okay, so today it was what?
Before it was 10.
Antes dice que las tarifas de esas, la categoría de esas tarifas, o sea, el impuesto que la persona en donde es clasificada, claro, depende de sus ingresos, antes era el 10%, el 15%, el 25% y el 28%,
28,
y el 28%. Ahora, bajo la nueva reforma, esas categorías ahora se han convertido. Sigue 10%, del 15% han bajado al 12%, del 25% han bajado al 22% y del 28% han bajado al 24%.
That is correct. Yes. And then obviously there's 33%, 35%, and 39.6%, which have also changed to 32, 35,
33,
33.
Y estamos viendo el porcentaje para que entiendan bien, porque todo esto tiene un impacto en el ahorro. Entonces, después de los 28, claro, tienen los 33, 35 y 39.6% digamos, del impuesto, del porcentaje que uno está clasificado según sus ingresos. Del 33 fueron cambiados al 32 bajo la nueva reforma. De 35 se mantiene en 35. They keep 35%. Y la persona que antes estaba en el 39.6%, ahora va a estar bajo la nueva reforma en el 37%. Es decir, que van a pagar un poquito menos en efectivo de la tarifa esa.
So that's where the 1%ers, they get stuck with that, right?
Yes.
Entonces Corey dice, ahí está de la población del 1% que pues van a quedarse con eso, ¿no? Del 39.6% al 37%. Y el productor nos está diciendo que vamos a otra pausa comercial. Wow, con tantos números, with a lot of numbers, but we're going to be back. Vamos a una pausa comercial y regresamos hablando de la nueva reforma de los impuestos. Very interesting.
And the income slabs have differed also. So what I really feel is fair is that the lower income households get benefited more, and then medium people, I guess, that are in the 22 to 32% brackets see a little bit of difference also. And then 35 and 37 also see a difference a little higher. But then they are the ones who are providing the employment. They are the ones who are churning the economy, you know.
So pretty much, if you don't take care of them, then everybody else gets wiped out. They
Yes,
have no job.
yes. I mean, that's, we tell this to all of our clients. It's like we've got clients, who have got 10 subways. We've got clients who have got 10 hotels, 300, 500 employees. And then
Wow.
they obviously, want to take care of their employees because their employees take care of the customers. So it's almost, everything is like a domino effect, government's taking care of the corporations are taking care of the employees are taking care of the customers, and then that's how the whole, wheel is
Makes
turning.
total sense. And every person has the ability to make decisions to choose where they want to be at in that food chain.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Veronica Gill says, good information, Nick. Give her a pay raise, brother.
All right.
You got the
Done
next
deal. Done deal.
Well, Nick did say, if the government gives them a benefit, then he's able to pass that benefit to the employees.
That's right.
Because why? The number one asset to a company is the employee.
People.
Yeah.
Because why? You got to have that ability or talent to make your company go, because corporations are nothing more than people.
Me avisas?
That's right.
Me avisas? Herbert? Herbert. He's all into his phone, and I'm not sure if he's letting us know. Herbert. ¿Estamos bien?
Todo bien, todo bien.
Ah, ok.
Yo les voy a contar de 15 segundos.
Ah, perfecto, ok. Perfecto.
Tranquilos. Todavía falta.
Declarando no estar confesando.
Bueno, diga 15 segundos, ya.
Ya entramos.
We are on a short commercial break.
Short commercial break.
It's not so bad, huh? Being on the radio?
No. I've actually, for our restaurant business, I'd actually been, when we started, I'd been to a radio station 2-3 times.
Now this guy, he's what they call the M&A, mergers and acquisition. So he bought the actual tax company that went into my old office. My first real estate office, it was taken over by a CPA firm.
Oh,
He merged with them, and it became his. So that's another bad information that's put out there, is that companies are gobbling up other companies. But in your situation, you bought a tax company that had thousands of people that were getting their taxes done, and the number one demographic of that particular tax company was the Hispanic community.
98.
Wow.
98%.
Now, how many Hispanics have access to this type of service, where it's actual CPAs in there?
Very little.
People setting up corporations.
Very little, and I don't want to talk negative about our community, but there's a lot of these local insurance companies that also do taxes, but they're not CPA. I'm not saying that it's not good or bad. I'm just saying sometimes they're not the best qualified individuals to giving you that advice.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Muy buenos días, mi gente. Estamos una vez más aquí de regreso en nuestro programa Enfoque Houston, un programa auspiciado por Small Business Connection y NewHomePrograms.com. Once again, good morning. We're back in our show Enfoque Houston. This program is sponsored in part by Small Business Connection and Enfoque Houston. It's NewHomePrograms.com, NewHomePrograms.com. And we're going to continue talking about the new tax reform with Corey and, of course, our CPA, Nick Shaw. Vamos a continuar hablando de la reforma de los impuestos con Corey y nuestro contador, Nick Shaw.
So right before we went on the break, we were talking about the different tax rates. Now we're going to calculate the tax benefit that, more money that they're going to be putting in, in their pocket. So an average, average household in Houston that brings home $61,465 will see a tax increase, a tax savings increase of $1,936.25, which means $1,936.25 which means that is the extra money that they will have in their pocket. 25.
25. Ok. Una de las cosas que está mencionando Nick, que estuvimos hablando antes de la pausa comercial, estábamos hablando de las categorías de los impuestos, o sea, del porcentaje que la persona tiene que pagar en sus impuestos, y hablamos de las 7 categorías y los cambios. Y ahora dice Nick, dice que vamos a hablar un poquito acerca del beneficio que puede tener, el beneficio, el ahorro de una persona del promedio que gane $61,465. Con la nueva reforma va a tener un ahorro de aproximadamente, no, exacto, $1,936.25.
Yes, this is. And then let's jump down now to average Texas. That's 55,200.
55,200. That's the
income household
of Texas in
average
general.
Texas.
Dice, ahora vamos a ver los ahorros que tienen bajo la nueva reforma de una persona en general que vive aquí en Texas, que gana aproximadamente $55,200.
And their savings is $1,639.20.
Dice que los ahorros de esa persona que gane $55,200 bajo la nueva reforma sería un ahorro de $1,639.20.
Okay. So
Now, when we talk about savings, just so we could clarify this, when we're saying savings, that's actual money in their pocket. Esto, digamos, de los ahorros sería dinero actual que está de regreso, como nosotros decimos, en nuestro bolsillo, en su bolsa.
okay. Now that additional income based on the new law, that didn't even have anything to do with if you have children, right? So isn't there a change with the child tax credit?
Yes, so
Let's say, I'm going to translate this because Corey brings a good point. Todo lo que estamos hablando, los ahorros, es solo de una persona, de una persona que gana el promedio aquí en Houston y en Texas, y no está todavía incluido el crédito que uno recibe por los hijos que uno tiene.
That's right. So before, it used to be $1,000 credit per child.
Mm-hmm.
Now it is $2,000 credit per child.
Okay. Now,
And again, credit is $1 savings from your tax and not a deduction, which would mean.
okay, so Nick, I'm going to translate what Nick is saying. Now, when you talk about $1,000 credit per child, we're talking about, and one of the things, of course, he said is the credit is the dollar to dollar. Now, I'll translate that, but my question before I translate, that $1,000 credit also depends on your income bracket, how much income you made, right?
No.
Oh, it's
you just
regardless.
Regardless.
Okay.
Credit is
Perfect.
you have to have tax liability. So if
Perfect.
you owe the government $1,000, but you
The-
have a kid, then you don't pay
Okay.
anything.
Okay.
in this
Una de las cosas que le pregunté a Nick era del crédito. Lo que él menciona es cuando hay la diferencia de una deducción y de un crédito, el crédito es un crédito de dólar a dólar. Es decir, si usted tiene sus impuestos, debe $1,000 y le dan por un hijo, le dan $1,000 de crédito, o sea, usted no paga nada. Ahora, el crédito, yo le pregunté depende de una cantidad de dinero que usted gana, y Nick dice no. Mientras usted tenga una responsabilidad de impuestos, ese crédito es para todos. Ahora, bajo la reforma anterior o el reglamento del 2017 anterior, el crédito era de $1,000 por hijo. Now, that's a qualifying child. We have to make that clear to everybody. It's a qualifying child. Un niño que vive con usted y que usted le mantiene. That lives with you and you support that child. Because
Correct.
sometimes people take this credit the wrong way.
Yes.
I'm not a tax accountant. I'm an engineer. But I'm making this clarification. Ahora, bajo la nueva reforma del 2018, este crédito ha incrementado a $2,000 por hijo.
That
Okay.
is correct.
So
yes.
in your calculation, before we even added the kid factor, the average Houstonian making $61,000 a year was going to bring home an additional $1,900 into their pocket. But if they had just one child, then they would be adding another $2,000. So
You're happy about that one,
We're
Corey.
right.
You're happy about
Hey,
that one,
listen,
Corey.
It's $1,000
This is going to be
more.
the first year, 2018, where I'm going to be able to get a child tax credit.
Okay, so so I'm going to translate. Una de las cosas que está diciendo Corey dice, bueno, ahora 2 minutos. Wow, we have 2 minutes. Vamos a terminar con esto. Una persona que gane el promedio de 61,465 tiene un ahorro de 1,936,25 centavos sin el crédito de los $1,000 digamos, de la reforma anterior. Con la reforma nueva va a tener un crédito de $2,000. Y Corey dice, bueno, en el 2018 va a ser la primera vez que él va a tener un crédito porque, claro, Millie y Corey están esperando su primer hijo. Now, I'm going to ask this question, and I'm going to assume that $2,000 would be added onto that 1936
It would, well,
if they
not-
have a qualifying child.
Not the 2,000 because there was 1,000 already before. So
Oh,
it's the difference of
the
1,000.
difference of 1,000. So then here would be an additional 1,000.
That is correct.
Wow. Entonces, miren, bajo la nueva reforma, el ahorro, si usted tiene un hijo, sería digamos, un ahorro adicional en su bolsillo de $1,000 adicional.
And because we're running out of time, there's still a lot of stuff we can't
Yeah.
cover. So we haven't even touched on some of the benefits for people that actually own real estate
Yeah.
properties, and also are paying for their own more medical expenses
That is
out of their
correct.
pockets, because we know some of that stuff can be deductible. So probably we need to have a second session
yeah.
where you can come back on, right?
Yes, definitely.
Perfecto.
yes.
Una de las cosas que Corey dice, mire, no hemos hablado de personas que tienen casas, que tienen propiedades, que pagan impuestos de propiedad. No hemos hablado de personas que tienen gastos médicos, que no tienen seguro, como Corey. Entonces dice, sería una buena idea de nosotros tener otro segmento en donde hablamos de todos esos otros beneficios. Acuérdense que solo habíamos hablado de personas que están ganando, no negocio, simplemente tienen los créditos que habíamos mencionado. Todavía ni hemos hablado del resto, así que vamos a tener otro segmento. Estamos ya en la recta final. We're in the last minute, and our producer is telling us that our time is out and music is going to be playing.
The last thing I was going to ask everybody is just just go to a CPA before the year end, because there's benefits that we could take for 2017 plus for plan for 2018 also.
Una de las cosas que Nick recomienda es chequen o visiten a un contador certificado que tenga conocimiento de este reglamento, porque hay beneficios del 2017 y también nuevos beneficios del 2018 que ustedes puedan tomar. Hasta la próxima. Nos vemos la próxima semana en el año 2018. Tengan un feliz año nuevo. Éxito, bendiciones. We'll see you next year.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, man, that was
There you go.
woo,
That's good.
that was excellent.
Well, until next year.
Until
So,
next
I'm
year.
gonna have you probably come on
Yeah.
again, and there's still tons of stuff
Tons.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
that people can benefit from.
Definitely, yes.
Or they can just call you, come into your office, and
Yes, yes.
take care of them. That is a wrap.
Millie, I made it.
You did. You did awesome.
I was,
Amazing.
I have to
Even
try
I
to.
understood some of it. Just kidding.
Maybe it was my hand gestures that I was doing like this, like that.
Yeah, you did awesome.